Hello, in this video we are going to review division by solving three word problems together. The first word problem says an industrial machine can make 479, let me underline that, can make 479 crayons a day. If each box of crayons, breaking into groups, if each box of crayons has 2 crayons in it, how many full boxes does the machine make a day? So notice as I was reading this, I was underlining key words. I was underlining important numbers. Notice we have our full amount known as my dividend. An industrial machine can make 479 crayons a day. If each box of crayons has 2 crayons, whoa, 2's my divisor. How many full boxes does the machine make a day? So first let's solve. For this problem, I'm going to use the standard algorithm. Each problem I'm going to use a little bit different strategy, but for this one, let's do the standard algorithm. So I look at my first digit I see, which is a 4 in my dividend. 2 times what number gets me close to or exactly to 4? So I know 2 times 2 is exactly 4. So let's use that. 2 times 4 2 times 2 is 4. So now I'm going to subtract and I'm left with 0. Now I'm not done yet. I still have 2 more digits left in my dividend. So now I'm going to bring down my 7. And I'm going to do this step all over again. This one I'll do in green. Now again, I want to ask myself that magic question. 2 times what number gets me close to or exactly to 7? Well, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, but I can't go over 7, so I'm going to use 2 times 3, which is 6. So now let's subtract, and we're left with 1. But notice I'm still not finished yet because I have one more digit in my dividend. So let's bring down this 9. So now I'm going to ask myself the same question again. A third time I'm asking this question. 2 times what number gets me close to or exactly to 19? Well, 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 10 is 20. Well, 20 is way too big. So let's use 2 times 9 is 18. That got me close to or exactly to 19. So now let's subtract, and I notice I have 1 left. Now I have no more digits left in my dividend, which is telling me I'm finished. So therefore this 1 here is known as my remainder of 1, telling me that I have one thing left over. Now let's say I wanted to check my work, make sure all of this was right. I could do 239 times 2. So again, you take your quotient and you multiply it by your divisor. Then you're going to find you get 478, which is really close. Now if I add my remainder, 478 plus 1, that's going to give me 479, which happens to be my dividend, and that's how I know I did this problem right. Now it's always important to go back and use multiplication to check your division work. So now I have this word problem here. I solved the problem. I got 239 remainder 1, which is awesome. But now let me go back and reread the question. If each box of crayons has 2 crayons in it, how many full boxes does the machine make a day? So it's saying we make 239 full boxes a day, and then one box only makes 1 crayon. It doesn't have a full box. It makes only 1 crayon, not 2, which would give me a full box. So they are asking full boxes. So all they want here is your quotient of 239 full boxes a day. So it's important that we thought about my remainder, determine if there was anything left over, but here all we want is our 439 full boxes here. And that's all we're going to include as my answer choice. We don't need that remainder here. We only want just the quotient of 239 full boxes. So now we're going to move to the next problem. Here it says Miss Lott is making bead necklaces. She wants to use 700 23 beads to make 7 necklaces. If she wants each necklace to have the same number of beads, how many beads will she have left over? So notice as I was reading this problem, I was underlining those important numbers. We have my dividend, my divisor. I know we're doing division because we're talking about equal groups, each necklace, same number of beads. And they're asking us how many beads will she have left over. Now, leftover is a key word for the remainder. So that means we're going to have to solve this whole problem here. Do the long division and then determine what my remainder is going to help me figure out my answer and answer this question. So now let's start. We identified 723 as my dividend. We identified 7 as my divisor. Now, for this problem, I'm going to use partial quotients this time. So first thing I'm going to do is let's do step 1 in blue. Now look at my 7. Same question I asked in the previous problem. 7 times what number gets me close to or exactly to 7? Well, 7 times 1 is 7. That's great. It's exactly 7. Now I'm going to include my 2 zeros for that to fill in because we're in my hundreds place. Now that's telling me 7 times 100 is 700, which we know that is correct. So now let's subtract, and I'm left with 23. So now my next step, I'm going to ask myself again, 7 times what number gets me close to or exactly to 23? I know that 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 4 is 28. Well, that's way too big. So let's stick with 7 times 3 is 21. And now let's subtract, and we're left with 2. Now I know I'm finished because my remainder is less than my divisor. I can't make more groups. So now I'm very, very close. When we're doing partial quotients, my last step is just to add everything on my side. And then when I add 100 plus 3, I'm left with 103, which you can also put that right on top here to represent your quotient. And notice that 2 here, when we subtracted my last step, that's known as my remainder of 2. Now 103 remainder 2 is very important. That's our full answer when we do this long division problem. However, we have a word problem here. So we're going to go back to my problem now. And it says, how many beads will she have left over? So left over means my remainder. So your answer here, you're just going to say 2 beads left over. That's it. Only 2 beads. That's it. You don't need to include 103. You don't need to include 103 and the remainder. You just want the remainder of 2, showing you that's all that's left over. That's it. That's all you have to do. And now my last problem here says a builder needed to buy 67 boards for his latest project. If the boards he needs come in packs of 5, how many packages will he need to buy? So again, 67 boards. If the boards he needs comes in packs of 5, packs of 5. Wow, that's groups. How many packages will he need to buy? It's a great question. So let's start with 67 as my dividend. I have 5 as my divisor. Now this is even a problem that you're welcome to even draw if you wanted. You could draw a picture, that works too. I'm going to do partial quotients real quick here. 5 times 1 gets me really, really close to 6. And that's also the same as saying, well, 5 times 10 is 50. So now let's subtract, and I'm left with 17. I'm getting really close. 5 times what number gets me close to or exactly to 17? Well, 5 times 3 is 15. That's pretty close. And now I'm going to subtract, and I'm left with 2. I know I'm finished. My remainder is less than my divisor. I can't make more groups of 5. My final step is just to add everything on my side. I have 10 plus 3, which is 13. And we can't forget to include my remainder of 2. So now I did my division here. I'm getting a quotient of 13. I'm getting a remainder of 2. But as we know, when we have a word problem, we always have to go back and read it. It says, how many packages will he need to buy? So here's the thing, he needs 67 boards, whether he has 13 packages, 14 packages, 15, 16 packages. But whatever he does, he has to have 67 boards. So if we just buy 13 packages, you're going to find that you only get 65 boards. And we're short 2. We need the full 67 boards. We need all 67. So if we buy 13 packages, we're forgetting about that 66th board and the 67th board. But if I bought 14 packages, then I wouldn't have anything left over. In fact, I would have some extra, but that's okay. It doesn't matter if we have some extras, but we would be including all 67 boards. And that's what the question wants to know. How many packages will he need to buy that will include all 67 boards? So by buying 14 packages, that's including that remainder of 2. And yes, you will have 3 extra packages then, so you would really be buying 70, you would be really having 70 boards, but that's okay. We have to make sure though that we had all 67 boards. So again, by buying 14 packages, then you're making sure that you're having 67 boards, and you're making sure that remainder is included, and you didn't forget about the 66th and the 67th board. So problems like this get a little bit tricky because you do all this hard work to solve your problem, and then you find that your quotient and your remainder is not even the answer. But in order to determine 14 packages, you do have to analyze and interpret your quotient and remainder. You needed this quotient and remainder to help you determine that 14 packages is your final answer. Now, I encourage you to go back and try these problems again on your own, and then rewatch this video and see if you were able to do it. These are the problems that are at the end of your study guide for your division test, so I highly recommend you give these another try and always refer back to this video for any extra practice.